and welcome to the Mental Health Awareness Family Support Network virtual workshop on mental health and boundaries. If you are just arriving, please put your child's school name and which borough or city or state you're joining from. And thank you, Gold Farah, you're joining from Los Angeles. And others who have joined, please put your child's which school your child attends if you're a parent or a child caregiver, and also put in the chat what city, state, or borough you're joining from. And we will get started in a moment. Hi, Elizabeth. Please let us know what city or state you're joining from, and if you're a parent, what area of the world you are joining from. So we will be doing the raffle by later on by a will. So we will be talking about that later. But thank you for everyone who joined. Hi, Miss Patricia. And Patricia, let us know where you're joining from. If you're joining, please put in the chat what site or school you attend or your child attends, and what city, state, or borough you're joining from. Are you joining from the Bronx, from Brooklyn? And we are going to get started soon. Good evening. This is Only Love Alston from Neighborhood Initiatives Development Corporation. And I'm also from our Family Support Network. And as we end May, our virtual workshop tonight is about mental health and boundaries. On the bottom of the screen, everything I say or anything anyone else who speaks says will be translated into Spanish. Thank you, Patricia. If you're joining, please put in the chat what school your children go to, if you have children, and what city, state, or country you're joining from. I want to thank Alyssa Colon, who is one of our youth development staff. She will be helping me moderate the chat today. If you have not RSVP'd, please RSVP as well. And Alyssa, if you could drop the RSVP link in the chat, I would appreciate it. And thank you, Patricia. Welcome to Anicia, and congratulations to Anicia. She won DYCD's Community Mom, and she is also a part of our Family Advisory Board. So congratulations and welcome to you, Anicia. And so I want to just welcome everyone. Many of you have been a part of our workshops before, but if you're new, NIDC stands for Neighborhood Initiatives Development Corporation. And we are a nonprofit that runs after-school programs, summer camp programs, housing programs, and community engagement programs across the Northeast Bronx. And we also provide these workshops to parents all over the world. Anywhere, if you can come online, you can join the workshop. Our executive director is William Forrester, and we're going into our 42nd year. I want to remind you, as Alyssa put in the chat, if you have not officially RSVP'd and someone shared the Zoom link with you, we really need you to formally RSVP. And so please take time to do that now. The Family Support Network is a supportive community for parents and caregivers, empowering them to network, learn, and grow in order to raise the next generation of healthy and thriving children. Give me one moment. I'm going to turn off the music. Okay, if you can hear me and if you can see the PowerPoint and the Spanish translation at the bottom, can you please put a 1 in the chat? Some of the programs that the Family Support Network does is in-person and virtual workshops and family events. We also are here to connect you to resources. My name is Only Love Alston, and I'm the social worker with the Family Support Network. And so if anything comes up in the workshop that you feel like you may want to privately discuss for you, your children, a friend or family member, you will receive my email at the end to contact me. We also make sure to send out a monthly Family Support Network e-newsletter. So stay tuned. In a few days, you will receive the June newsletter with all the events happening in June, but also with the family resource section with free resources for you and your family. And in person, we have refreshments, but most of our events, we do have prizes. And tonight, we will be doing a drawing for the virtual Amazon gift card, but you do have to stay in the workshop to be a part of the drawing. And so if you are here, thank you for commenting. And tonight this workshop is for Mental Health Awareness Month, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And even though we're at the end of May, mental health is all year long. Mental health awareness is not just for adults or for people who have mental health problems, but mental health awareness is something we should be teaching to our children. And you don't take care of your mental health when you're depressed or when you're anxious or when you have a mental health diagnosis, but you take care of your mental health every day. And so welcome to everyone who is joining. Again, if you join, please let us know what city, state, or town you're joining from, and if you have children, what school they go to. So we are focusing in on mental health and boundaries. We've also done mental health and self-care workshops, mental health and financial empowerment, the connection. And tomorrow for the district, there will be another Zoom workshop on mental health and financial empowerment. So thank you if you've attended other workshops. Tonight, we're going to be looking at boundaries and how boundaries can help our mental health, or a lack of boundaries can harm our mental health. Again, everything that I or anyone says will be translated on the bottom into Spanish. If you are joining, please let us know where you're joining from in the chat, and welcome. For those of you who are new, Alyssa Colon is one of our youth development staff, and she is helping to monitor the chat, and we appreciate her. So thank you to everyone who is joining. So if you've ever heard of boundaries, can you raise your hand or put yes in the chat? How many people are aware of boundaries? Thank you, Patricia. You're aware of boundaries. Thank you, Alyssa. How many are aware of boundaries? You can put yes in the chat, or you can use one of the emojis or the raise hand feature. We'll talk about boundaries, but common ways to refer to boundaries are what we say yes to and what we say no to, what's okay and what's not okay. Author Brene Brown has a great book on boundaries called Atlas of the Heart. Another definition of boundaries is that boundaries are guidelines, rules, or limits that a person creates to identify for themselves what are reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for other people to behave around them, and how they will respond when someone steps out of those limits. And that is from outofthefog.net. So what is the history of boundaries? You may see memes on social media about boundaries. You may see people talking about boundaries, but we didn't always have this word of boundaries for our relationships or mental health. In the past, boundaries may have referred to a gate around your house or property, but history of boundaries as a concept in mental health It started in the 1970s by Salvador Minchin, who founded structural family therapy, and he's now known as the father of structural family therapy. So you can get therapy and counseling for you as an individual, but there's also ways to get therapy and counseling as a family. And he believed that families function best with well-defined boundaries. And so, just some more. And if you have a question, please put in the chat. Please make sure you're participating in the chat. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. You can come off of mute. And if you are able to be on camera, please be on camera. But some examples of clear boundaries in families and in cycles of increasing security is hearing and being heard, which can facilitate more empathy between individuals, more understanding, and an increased sense of security. Also, clear boundaries create an environment in which people feel oriented in their role in the family. Structure fosters predictability and increased sense of safety, especially for children. Children need boundaries, even if they get annoyed, even if they don't want to follow rules. Studies have shown that kids feel more secure and do better with clear, well-defined boundaries. If you haven't shared a boundary, you don't have a boundary. So a boundary around how your kids should act to go to bed can't be in your head, and then when they break it, you say something, you have to share it beforehand. With an increased sense of safety, family members are more likely to share their thoughts and feelings. So boundaries can be thought of as a house. And so with a house, you don't have to let everyone into your house. You get to choose. It's also very clear and visible so people can see where your house is. The house protects you and your loved ones and your valuables. Personal boundaries involve determining what behaviors and interactions are acceptable for you, what you will and won't tolerate in your house. So again, think of boundaries as your house. So your house is not hidden. And so if you're setting up boundaries for yourself with family or children, they have to be known. Physical boundaries. So there are types of boundaries. The most important boundary for children, and the first boundary you should teach children about, are physical boundaries, which provide a physical barrier between yourself and others, including your body, personal space, and privacy. Violations equal standing too close, inappropriate touching, etc. So as soon as you can, you need to teach your children boundaries around who can touch them, who can't, where they can touch them, and things like that. But there are also emotional boundaries, which protect you from being vulnerable to other people's words, thoughts, and actions. Violations equal sacrificing your own needs, wants, or dreams to please others, also known as people pleasing. Taking responsibility for another person's feelings, taking responsibility for mistakes of others, aka personalizing. And intellectual boundaries refer to thoughts and ideas. And this can be violated when someone dismisses or appropriates, or which means uses or plagiarizes another person's thoughts or boundaries. You need to teach your children who are older in elementary school, definitely middle school, high school, college, that they have to respect intellectual boundaries. Just because someone posts something online doesn't mean they can copy paste it and turn it in with their paper. Because I also teach college students, and you can be expelled for using other people's work without having a quote of where you got it from. So it's very important to even think about boundaries around physical property and also ideas. There are also sexual boundaries, which refer to the emotional, intellectual, and physical aspects of sexuality. And these lead to mutual understanding and respect of limitations and desires between sexual partners. This is due to intimacy and vulnerability of sexual relations, which we can risk violating without having these boundaries. These are also boundaries when we engage without expressed consent. So you especially for your older children, teaching them about consent in physical relationships. And we have to ask with words, even better, having conversations, discussion, and dialogues around sexual boundaries. It's also material boundaries, which refer to money and possessions. What will you share and with whom? Can anyone just get your debit card and go into your account? And this is important to go over with your children as well, because children may not understand boundaries. They may think every toy is their toy. Also, time boundaries. So, how do we spend our time? This can include dedicating time according to our values, time for working out, time for sleeping, time for religious activity, time for technology, time when your kids won't be on technology. What arises when you contemplate being late or an early bird? So having boundaries around if you're going to be late, letting people know. Also, time boundaries can be violated when another person demands too much of another person's time. Also, technology boundaries, how we interact with the internet and digital media and devices. And I want to thank Ananicia again for helping with our virtual workshop around our children and technology. And we've done that workshop at a couple of places. You need to let your children know when can they use a phone or a tablet, when does it have to be away. You should not let your children take phones and tablets into the bed. One, that disturbs their sleep, but two, when it gets too late, they may think they're interacting with other young people, most likely they're not. But also consider privacy settings, time limit on screens, expectation with communication. Some people believe you have to respond to every text they send right away, but you can use do not disturb functions when you can't respond. And so boundaries are extremely important for maintaining mental health, for improving mental health, and healthy boundaries are important for also maintaining healthy relationships. They allow us to keep our self-esteem while enjoying relationships. Unhealthy boundaries or lack of boundaries can cause pain and lead to feelings of anxiety, depression, and anger. Does anyone have any questions or comments about boundaries? And please, if you have not put your name or state in the chat, please do so. If you did not RSVP to be on this workshop, please do so. Does anyone have any questions or any comments so far? And if you're joining for the first time, welcome. And please let us know what city or state you're joining from and what school your children go to. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, so and Anicia said we should always set boundaries for our children on the use of technological devices because they can harm them. Yes, we've had parents come to our technology workshops and say one mother and father came and they talked about how their daughter at 13 was being lured by an adult to meet them in another country. Another father who worked for the FBI said there are online rooms where you enter and people can be naked and all of these things. And he talked about how people take advantage of kids online. So thank you for that, Anicia. And if you are joining us, please make sure to put the name, put what city, state, or country you're joining from and what school your children go to, even if it's outside of New York State. And Elisa, if you can drop the RSVP link in the chat. And thank you, Anicia from PS96. So I want to talk about what boundaries are not. So boundaries are not meant to make you unhappy. Setting boundaries will help you attract people who respect and want good things for you. Boundaries are not meant to limit your joy or anyone else's joy, but you actually feel more enjoyment in activities because you truly want to do them and they match your values. Thank you, Alicia. Have you ever gone to an event you really didn't want to go to? And sometimes we have to do that, but if you're doing that all the time, do you really have fun? Also, boundaries are not set in stone. As we learn more about ourselves, we will change, and so can our boundaries. The boundaries you have for your children around technology at age 5 are not going to be the same as when they're 17. And boundaries are not boulders or walls. So boundaries are not meant to keep everyone out, but they're meant to help us foster positive connections and to keep the right people in and the wrong people out. So there are also three categories of boundaries. And again, if you have a question or a comment, please let us know in the chat. There are flexible boundaries, which can keep most people at a distance, can be I'm sorry. Hold on one moment. I'm not sure why this did this, but let me just adjust one thing on the PowerPoint so we're not confused. Okay. I just wanted to fix something on the PowerPoint so it's not confusing. Thank you for your patience. Again, if you need Espanol, on the bottom of the screen, there is translation. But there are three types of boundaries. One, rigid boundaries, which keeps most people at a distance, very untrusting of others, very guarded with personal information, says no to others most of the time, detached from others' problems, tend to ignore others' opinions, avoids conflict by pushing others away, has inflexible personal values, and communicates aggressively. There's also flexible boundaries, which let almost anyone get close to them, is overly trusting of others, even strangers, overshares personal information, has difficulty saying no to others, overly involved in others' problems, quick to adopt others' opinions, avoids conflict by giving in to others, does not assert personal values, and communicates passively. Thank you from Arizona, from California, from New York. Thank you so much and welcome. If you have children in school, let us know what schools they go to. Porous boundaries are selective about who to let in and whom to keep out. It takes time to build trust with others, shares personal information appropriately. So it's not never sharing personal information, but it's the difference between posting personal information on social media for the world to see versus sharing personal information with your best friend. Able to say no when needed, supports others without being too involved, values both own and others' opinions, accepts conflict as a normal part of life, and stands by personal values but can also adapt, and communicates assertively. So there's a difference with assertive communication. You can be very clear, very strong, you can disagree, but be respectful. Communicating aggressively is saying what you want to say with insults, with cursing, with yelling. And so we have to be mindful because sometimes we don't communicate because we think all communication that someone doesn't like is aggressive. But aggressive communication is not about what you say, but how you say it. So, if you're joining us, welcome to the workshop, and please put in the chat what grade your children are in, what school they're in, and what city or state you're joining from. And if you haven't, please RSVP. So, signs that you may benefit from revisiting boundaries to improve your mental health: wanting to avoid but feeling unable to take space or time away, feeling imposed upon by others, feeling isolated, identifying with any or some of the following statements. It's hard for me to say no. I can't say no. I can't make my own decisions. How many people listening have a hard time saying no? Welcome, Denise. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Denise, if you can ask your question again, what is the name of Third Boundaries Child Third Grade? If you could ask that again, and welcome. I feel criticized. How many of you feel criticized by those around you? I take responsibility for other people's feelings. I take on other people's moods. How many of you feel that? I am often nervous, anxious, or resentful around certain people. These are all signs that your mental health may be improved by having more boundaries. And let's take a moment to just sit back and take a few deep breaths. So if you are with me, I want to ask you to just take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. Take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. Science shows when we breathe in and out, we literally lower stress hormones in our body, and you can do this anywhere and it's free. Alyssa, if you can make sure to start typing names into the will spin for the gift card. And so I want to ask you all a question. As we're talking about boundaries and mental health, what is coming up for you at this time? So anyone want to share a question that's coming up for you, a comment? You can share in the chat or you can unmute. No, Alyssa, I'm sorry, please don't share the spin link. Please go on the link and type in everyone's name who's on the Zoom. You don't need to share the link, but just you go on the link and type everyone's name who's on the Zoom. Thank you so much. Does anyone have a question or anything coming up for you as we share boundaries? Anyone have any questions around boundaries and mental health? Anyone have any comments? And if you don't want to share, you can also take out a pen and paper and write down what boundaries do you need to set. And let's see what's happening in the chat. Thank you, Gold. Thank you so much. And that's a cool name. Thank you so much. Yes, so many of us have to set boundaries around family. Thank you so much, Miss Gold. And talking about boundary influences, you know, boundaries can have a lot to do with how you witnessed and experienced boundaries being set, challenged, or dishonored as a child. So the way we've seen boundaries or seen a lack of boundaries as a child can also impact what we think about boundaries, how we set boundaries, which can also have an impact on our mental health. And Denise said a great comment. I have a problem spending time with my aunt who always disciplines my child. I feel uncomfortable. And so thank you for sharing, Denise. And I would suggest that you have a conversation with your aunt that's assertive but respectful and say, this is how you can discipline my child. This is how you don't discipline my child. And if you don't want her to discipline your child at all, you have to let her know, do not discipline my child. And if you want to see me and my child, please follow this boundary and respect it. And then you have to hold the consequence. If she is still disciplining your child in ways you don't like after talking about it, then you do need to have a responsibility to keep your child away from her, even if that is harmful. And thank you for sharing. So some things to consider when boundary setting is, you know, these are the following. The following is a list of rights we are entitled to and deserve. You have a right to ask for what you want. You have a right to say no. You have a right to change your mind without making excuses. You have a right to make mistakes and be responsible for them. You also have the right to expect honesty from others. So just because you set a boundary, everyone doesn't have to accept it, but you also don't have to have everyone in your life. So, you know, no disrespect if someone doesn't like your boundary and you have to distance yourself. It doesn't have to be a big argument. But I want to just remind you all of this, and you will be getting an email with resources and these PowerPoint slides, but you can also feel free to take a screenshot of anything you see. So things to consider when boundary setting. So these are a continuation of the rights that we all are entitled to and deserve. And thank you, Patricia. You said boundaries change, stand out for me. As we grow and learn, we make changes that help our mental health. Definitely. Boundaries can definitely change, especially with children. So remember, you also have the right to determine your own priorities. You have the right to be angry with someone you love. It's just, still be respectful when you're angry. You have the right to be happy. You also have the right to be treated with dignity and respect. You have the right to express your own feelings and opinions, even if they are different from others. And it's not just about our opinions being respected, but we also have to respect the opinions and differences of others. So, some things to consider: intense emotions are cues that boundaries need to be set. Be prepared to follow through with your new boundary. So setting a boundary is one thing, but if you don't follow through with changing access to you or your child or your resources, or having a result, if someone doesn't follow your boundary, then it's not a boundary, it's more of a request. When we have healthy boundaries, we can expect positive people and actions in our lives. We can also protect ourselves from those who are harmful. You can set boundaries when you are ready, not a minute sooner. So don't rush to set boundaries if you don't know what boundary needs to be set. You can also go to counselors. You can go to other people that you can read articles about what boundaries are needed and how to set them. Set a limit clearly in as few words as possible. You may hurt someone's feelings when setting a boundary. But there's a satisfying side to setting boundaries. It feels good and it improves your mental health. Healthy boundaries let us choose who to trust, how far to trust them, and what actions to accept from them. And thank you for this question, Anicia. Anicia asked in the chat, boundaries and mental health stress, how to reduce stress. So one way to reduce stress is by calmly and clearly setting a boundary. If someone is crossing a boundary around your time, your resources, how to act in your home, you don't always want to wait until the stress comes to set the boundary. Sometimes we want to get in front of things. Like if you have someone staying with you for a month, you want to set the boundaries and clearly tell them what they can do in your house and what they can't before they make a mistake. With your kids, you don't want to wait until they're getting up late for school every day to tell them they can't take the tablet to bed. You want to think that in advance. And then to decrease stress, definitely deep breathing, journaling, talking to someone you care for, seeking mental health counseling. And Alicia, if you can drop the 988 Lifeline link in the chat, I would appreciate it. So locus of control and acceptance. We cannot control how people act towards us, but we can refer to our expectations and boundaries to protect ourselves. So you really can't control what anyone else does, but you can remind them, if you're going to be my friend, you can't gossip around me. If you're going to be in my house, you can't, go through my personal things. If, as a child, if you don't want to get in trouble, you're going to have to put the tablet away when you're in class. So and thank you everyone who's participating in the chat, and thank you, Elisa. If you or anyone needs mental health counseling or services, you can visit this website for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, mental health counseling services. You can call or text 988 or visit the website in the chat, 988lifeline.org. They also have a page of free apps to help you and your kids increase mental health, concentration, and things like that. And if you're new to the workshop, please let us know in the chat where you're joining from. And please also let us know where your children go to school if you have children. Yes, sometimes you can be overwhelmed with too many appointments. And so this is why this particular mental health service, you can text them, you can call them from your home. A lot of counseling can happen on virtual, but also some of us need boundaries around our time. So some of us don't need boundaries around relationships or technology or money, but some of us, we have to look at our calendar and how many appointments and commitments we have and maybe have some boundaries around our time. And thank you for sharing that, Denise, because I forgot to mention sometimes the boundaries are not with other people, but the boundaries may be just how much you say yes and around your time. So, you also, how to set boundaries. Determine the boundary that you would like to set. Check in with yourself. What do you need? Do you need less time with someone, more time? What do you need? Remind yourself that your needs and boundaries are valid and important. Practice expressing boundary using I statements and assertive communication skills. So assertive doesn't mean disrespect, tell off, curse out, yell at. Assertive means being clear and saying your honest truth, even if someone gets upset, but being respectful. But being respectful also doesn't mean staying with someone until while they're yelling and disrespecting you. If you've just joined, please put what city or state you're joining from and what school your children are in. You do need to participate in the chat to also be included in the drawing. And Elisa, if you can make sure new people are added to the wheel, I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. Express your boundary to the individual. Be as clear, firm, respectful, and succinct as possible. So be short. I need you not to come to my house unannounced. Now, if you're expressing a boundary about one person to everyone but them, that is not setting a boundary. That's just gossiping. And this is something you can use with your children because it's from the Book of Boundaries and it kind of color codes certain boundaries. So we have green, yellow, and red. And you can look up this Book of Boundaries by Melissa Urban. So green means you assume the person doesn't know the boundary, so you communicate it gently the first time they violate it. Yellow is you figure the person may have forgotten because the boundary is new. So you remind them of the boundary and what you will do to honor it. So if you continue to come over unannounced, I will have to refrain from letting you visit. And then red, you identify that the person does not respect the boundary. You engage in an activity that will help you honor the consequence. So we spoke a couple of times. You clearly knew you weren't supposed to come over unannounced. I'm really sorry, but I can't have you as a guest right now. So some examples, and this is something with older kids, older elementary you can use because it's color coded. But green, so friend is expecting you to have a glass of wine, but you are not drinking in January. You express your boundary to them. I'm not going to drink alcohol as I'm doing dry in January. Yellow, the friend continues to offer a drink. Figure out that the person has forgotten. Maybe the night has gone on, it's loud music in the restaurant, and they forgot. Maybe it's just a habit that they make sure everyone around them has a drink. So then you remind them of the boundary and what you will do to honor it. I am not drinking in January. If you ask me again, I'm going home. And then red, the person clearly heard you 2 times, but they continue to pressure you to drink. So you will have to identify that the person does not respect the boundary. Engage in an activity that will help you honor the consequence. I've told you that I don't want to drink and that if I leave, and that I will leave if you keep asking me to have a glass of wine. So I'm going to have to leave now. This doesn't have to include cursing, yelling, popping off. You could say it calm and then keep moving. Welcome to everyone who's joining the workshop. Please, if you want to be a part of the raffle, put in the chat which city, state you're joining from, and if you have children, what school they go to. Thank you. So ways to communicating boundaries assertively. This is a little acronym called DARE MAN. And it's D for describe the situation objectively. That means sticking to the facts by avoiding opinion and interpretation. The goal is to get everyone on the same page. Express. Let others know how a situation makes you feel by clearly expressing your feelings. Don't expect others to read your mind. Try using this line. I feel sad because you keep offering me a drink when I don't want to drink. Assert. Don't beat around the bush. Say what you need to say. Don't say, oh, well, I don't know if I can cook tonight or not. Do say, I won't be able to cook because I'm working late. R is for reinforce. Reward people who respond well and reinforce why your desired outcome is positive. This can be as simple as a smile and a thank you. Mindful. Don't forget the objective of the interaction. It could be easy to get sidetracked into harmful arguments and lose focus. A, appear confident. Consider your posture, tone, eye contact, and body language. Negotiate. No one can have everything they want out of an interaction all the time. Be open to negotiation and compromising, as long as you're not compromising deeply held values and as long as compromise is happening on both sides. Do say, if you wash the dishes, I'll put them away. So this is an example of an acronym. Welcome, Sophia. And if you have kids in school, please let us know what school they attend. Thank you, Ella. Thank you so much, and welcome from California. So this is an acronym you can use to help you, to guide you in setting boundaries. You could actually write it out what you want to say and use that as a guide. And you will be getting a PDF of these slides in your email so that you have these references. And so now it is time for us to spin the wheel and for us to have the drawing for the virtual Amazon gift card. If you are joining late and you did not RSVP, please RSVP by finding the link in the chat. We do need everyone to RSVP. And hold on a moment. We are going to do the spin the wheel raffle. And then if you have any questions, welcome, Mac. If you have any questions, we will also take them after this. Please do not get off after we do the spin the wheel, because that does not mean the workshop is over. And we do actually have very important announcements to make. Okay. Give me a moment. So I have to adjust some of the names. So hold on one moment. You first, before ignoring your aunt, you should have a calm conversation with her and say, please don't show up unannounced to my house. I do like having you in my life, but I'm rushing to get my child to school. And if you do continue to show up unannounced, I am going to have to not let you in. So thank you to Joy. I appreciate you. And Alyssa, can you go on the will and make sure to delete names that are not present? Or I will try to delete names that are not present. Hold on 1 minute, everyone, if you could just give me a moment, because I need to make sure that all the names are on the will that are supposed to be. And I will take all questions after. And again, the workshop is not over. When the drawing happens, please stay on. Please make sure to stay on for follow-up. If you drop off right after, then you will not get the card if you won. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Okay, okay, I think this is, I just have to take two people off that I know are not on. Please, just be patient with us. Thank you. Okay. And I'm coming back in a moment. I just want to make sure everyone is here as supposed to be. And let me look in the chat. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so, so much, Alicia. And thank you everyone for your patience. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to spin for our virtual Amazon gift card, which you will be emailed right after this workshop. So the winner is Apple Antor. Apple Antor, are you here? If so, I need you to send me your email in the chat. Apple Antor is the winner. Yay. So anything you want to say? Where are you joining us from? Hello, Apple?
California.
Thank you.
California.
Thank you and welcome, and thank you for joining us. If you can privately send me your email, I will be emailing you the virtual Amazon gift card right after the workshop. And congratulations to you, and thank you so much to Alyssa for helping us get our will together, and thank you to everyone for being patient. We have just a few announcements, and so please, please, please do not drop off yet, just to be fair to everyone. And at all of our events, we do have giveaways. So if you jump off, you're not going to find out about a giveaway that will be happening tomorrow as well. Can everyone see the PowerPoint? Can everyone see the PowerPoint? And Apple, please send me your email. I need you to put your email in the chat. Okay, so does anyone have any questions or comments about the workshop? Any questions? And thank you, Denise and Anicia, Patricia, and others for asking your questions and giving your real scenarios in the chat. Apple Anton, if you don't put your email in the chat, you may not get your virtual gift card. So I really need you to do that. Anyone have any questions or comments? At any time, you can put a question or comment in the chat or come off of mute and put it. Thank you so much. And congratulations, Apple Anton. And so if you want another chance to win a virtual Amazon gift card tomorrow with District 11, hosted by Ms. Garcia at PS 483 in the District 11 team, we have a workshop called Mental Health and Financial Literacy, The Connection. That will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. on the Zoom that is on the screen. There is no RSVP. You just need to take down the Zoom information. That also it can be that also will be emailed to you with the slides, but you can take a picture of the flyer now. And join us tomorrow with parents from all over the district. We will be doing another drawing tomorrow. I also want to say that tomorrow the workshop will be translated into English, Spanish, Arabic, Bengali, and to Miss Denise and anyone, you just text in order to receive the mental health services from 988 for you. You don't need to register for tomorrow. You just need to go to the Zoom on the screen. In order to text 988, you literally type in 988 like a phone number that you're going to text. So you go to your phone, you pull up a text message, you pull up like you're messaging someone, and you type 988 where the number goes, and then you text them that you would like mental health counseling. You can also just dial 988. So you text 988 the way you would text any phone number. 988 is the phone number you text, and you say you want like mental health services. You can also call them or go to the website that Alicia dropped in the chat and get services. But you would text them, I need mental health services. I'm in Bronx, New York, and someone will get back to you. And so thank you for asking that, because that's very important. And please share with others. So thank you so much, Patricia. And thank you for your involvement at ECG. And so I just want to quickly let everyone know that our annual Family Self-Care Day is coming back on Tuesday, June 10th from 5 to 7 p.m. for parents from anywhere across New York City, PSMS 89. We will be having a Family Self-Care Day with a chance to work out, with food, with sip and paint, with a kids self-care area facilitated by adults. So you can have time alone, creating stress balls, doing a stress wheel, which is a plan for your self-care, Zumba, different activities to help you de-stress. It is totally free. We will be giving out self-care bags, and we also will be giving out an NIDC prize pack, and there will be food and childcare and refreshments. You can RSVP. This is for any parent that is in New York City. Thank you, Alyssa. And if you can just make sure to drop the link for everyone, you texted it to me, but thank you. And the link to register is in the chat. Please join us and please tell others. Please also take the feedback survey. This is the link to the feedback survey. This is also the QR code. You can point your phone camera at the screen and it will pull up the feedback survey. Please take the feedback survey because we use the feedback survey to determine what workshops and events we're going to have. And so please take the feedback survey. And Alyssa, if you could drop the feedback survey in the chat, I would appreciate it. And please make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, on YouTube. Our virtual workshops are uploaded. Visit our website. And if you want to speak to me privately, that is my direct line and also my phone number. And I want to say congratulations to Apple. I want to thank Miss Denise for all your great questions. Patricia, Anicia, everyone who participated. I also want to congratulate Anicia for winning DYCD's Community Mom. And I appreciate each and every one of you who is on. Please make sure to stay in touch and to also give us feedback. Are there any final questions or comments? Yes, you will get an email with the Family Self-Care Day and night, but it would be good to RSVP as soon as possible. So you can point at the QR code on the screen, or you can go to the link right here. And thank you, and you will be getting this information. But I appreciate all of you. And as we go into the last few days of Mental Health Awareness Month, please invite parents to these events. This virtual workshop is for any parent in District 11. Also, the Family Self-Care Day is for any parent that is in New York City on that day. And I want to thank you, Alyssa, for helping with our chat. And I appreciate everyone who is on. Please stay in touch and please be well. Bye. Have a good night. Thank you, everyone.